place America first. Honoring those who America has forgotten. Listen in and unlearn to relearn. As we set the record straight. And now, your host of the Truth Be Told show, Mr. Just Ask Joe and Uncle Sean.
Thank you, Truth Be Told, for allowing God's Lives Matter to be a sponsor. Wearable product as the purple t-shirt is bearing witness. Every life created by God has infinite value. This is God's Lives Matter. Hey folks, Mr. Just Ask Joe from the Truth Be Told show. It's historyuntold400.org. Remember, you never know where you're going until you know where you've been. Historyuntold400.org. Check them out. What's up, folks? This is Mr. Just Ask Joe, and I want to tell you about a quaint little spot called D. Nally's. Awesome food, great price, 970 South 3rd Street. Remember, D. Nally's, 970 South 3rd Street. Check them out. Get something good to eat. All right. Welcome to the Truth Be Told show. This is Uncle Me, Sean, and I'm looking for my other partners.
What's going on, Uncle Me, Sean?
Yeah, what kind of Tuesday is this, bro?
Man, I'm gonna tell you, this is an amazing Tuesday, and I'm gonna tell you why this Tuesday is actually one of the most amazing Tuesdays that we've ever had on this show. First and foremost, it is Tuesday, April 19th, 2022. So you're never going to get a Tuesday, April 19th, 2022 ever again. Okay. You're never going to get that. But on top of that, it's my birthday. So with that being said, then this day is even more special as an Aries came into the world in the year, well, we won't talk about the year, but as an Aries came into the world some years ago, then you know how the solstice goes and all that stuff, folks. Aries, we started it. This is a new year. And tomorrow, as I'm on the cusp, so I have some Taurus tendencies as well. But it's a very special day, folks. Make it a good one. And yes, I do take donations starting at $1,000 minimum for a birthday. Okay. All right.
Well, happy birthday. How coincidentally that we will be on the air and it's your birthday. Ain't that something, boy? I tell you, that's how God works, boy. Happy birthday to you, man.
Hey, thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Thank you, Peter.
And I guess we have a stand-in for the family. Better Days with Peter Hayes. Welcome to the show, bro. Go on in there.
Hey, it's great to be with you guys, and happy birthday, Joe Tapper. And the world would not be the same without you.
Absolutely, and I thank you for that, because that is a fact.
Might be better, it might be worse, but it wouldn't be the same.
Hey, but real quick, before you jump in there, Peter, I do want to let people know that they can call in at 502-571-1240 to join the conversation. Folks, we love when we hear from you. Okay. And, we try to have conversation during certain times and whatnot, but you know what? We will stop and listen and talk to you if you call in, because guess what that lets us know? That lets us know that people are listening. Okay. I know we're going to have the strong conversation at some point today, right? That segment always comes at different times throughout the show. But with that being said, folks, we'd love to hear from anyone else. 502-571-1240 to join the conversation. And you can help support Truth Be Told radio show by going to www.truthbetold.com. Remember, that's truth with an E, betold.com. That's truthbetold.com. Truthbetold.com, and make a donation of any size. If you want to notate it as a birthday donation, then you can do that too at truthbetold.com and make that donation. Please like us on Facebook at Truth Be Told. Again, that's Truth Be Told Radio, and that's Truth with an E. Peter Hayes is now this segment here, Better Days with Peter Hayes. Take it away.
Thank you, Joe and Uncle Lee Short. So this segment is sponsored by the American Family Association of Kentucky, which has been doing great, phenomenal work to promote the God-centered family. Uh, this section is, we've been seeing the family structure in America altering and diminishing and almost going the way of the dinosaur as far as the traditional two-parent, three-generational family. And some people think that's groovy. Others don't think it's a cool thing. I don't believe it's healthy for our society because children should be born to two loving parents and four loving grandparents. And when children are born in that atmosphere, they have a lot of support and they're more than likely to succeed. But what we've seen over the last really 60, 70, 80 years is the two-parent family has been getting weaker and weaker. More and more kids are born out of wedlock without fathers in the home. And we see escalation of many societal problems. And Uncle Micho and Joseph Joe, it's interesting. Very few of our leaders want to talk about the core issue of family breakdown in our society. Another issue we're going to talk today, we love to hear your feedback, as Joe said. Give us a call at 571-1240. We have this push around the world, and especially in America, to say that each of us can choose our own gender, whether we're males and females. There's 70 different gender identities now. And so a question we're throwing out there today for discussion is, should biological males, a dude, be able to say, now I'm a woman, and compete against girls in sports? And you've probably seen this on TV. You have these big dude swimmers and runners that are now competing against girls and winning all the medals. And the reality is, whether someone is trying to change their gender or not, if you're born a biological male, your structure, your muscles, you're a dude. And dudes should be competing against other dudes. Now, if women want to compete against dudes, that's fine. But dudes should not be competing against high school girls and college girls, winning all these medals and taking that chance
Peter,
for victory away from the girls.
Peter, I heard something. It was Dave Chappelle. He made a joke and he said, in this conversation, he talked about when it comes to, let's say, LeBron James. If LeBron James decided that on the inside he felt like a woman, and then went to go play in the WNBA where he would score 400 points a game. I mean, when you think about it, women are out here saying we are equal, we are equal, we are equal. But let me tell you something. I have twins, a boy, girl, twins. All right. They afforded the same everything growing up. And I will be honest. I know, being the father of fraternal twins, that women are smarter than men. Okay, they are. They have an aptitude that it far reaching further than men. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Now, with that being said, when it came to riding a bicycle, guess what? My son jumped on and he took it away. My daughter, she wobbled for a while, right? Because hand-eye coordination is a man thing. Right? It's just an innate thing that has been embedded into the DNA of a man. And as I've heard even psychologists say, hey, you can take a body and dig it up 100 years from now and embed it into the bone structure of that body. You can tell whether it's a man or a woman, or whether it was born a man or a woman. So this is a rabbit hole that we're going down. It's a leftist democratic thing. I hate trying to separate the political thing, but that's the reality of what it is. You guys voted for it when she had hot sauce in her bag. And now all of a sudden, women should be, if they're not, they should be freaking angry around the world. If not, I'm angry for you because of the fact that, hey, it's not cool. It's not cool. A woman walked in the bathroom at Walmart on me the other day, but she was half blind, and that was her reasoning. But, you know, what if she walked in normal and said, I'm feeling like a man? You know what I mean? Is it cool? Is it not?
Yeah.
No, it's not. Y'all need to stop playing. It's a rabbit hole that you don't want to go down. We're in the middle of it, and we need to turn this thing around, dude. Stop.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you think about it, it's an assault on the very human condition of males and females. Since we're on the gospel station, we talked about the Lord created males and females. That's found in the very beginning of Genesis. So if you're either a male or a female, those are the only people that the Lord created, males and females. And so now this push is that nope, there's not just males and females, there's 70 different genders, and they're pushing kids as young as 3, 4, 5, 6 years old to take hormone injections because a boy feels like he wants to be a girl and vice versa. Look at the basketball player's son, right? We looked at that. His name is escaping me. You know who I'm talking about? Wade, Dwayne Wade.
Oh, Dwayne Wade.
They're
Zio Wade.
And who's pushing this? Hollywood, the media. They're pushing that this is great and cool. To turn little girls into boys and little boys into girls. And it's just crazy. And I hope that every parent and every person listening would speak up against this, because this is not the way to go. This will literally destroy our society when we turn little boys into little girls and little girls into little boys. And it's all coming from the elite that are trying to tear down the basic moral Judeo-Christian values of our country. What do you think about that, Uncle Mishwan?
Well, happy belated Easter to all of you all. We just came off of Easter and everything, and what we talked about is Christ was risen, right? Isn't that what we talked about? And so I'm going to tie this conversation in. If it didn't matter that a man or a father needed to be involved in a child's life, we all know the story. The birth of Jesus and Mary came by the Spirit. Okay, we came by the Spirit, and for whatever reason, if it didn't matter, God went out of His whole way to send the angels down to Joseph to tell Joseph to go on and take that woman on, Mary on, okay? And you know how crazy it would have been if the Spirit would have went to the woman, went to some women and said instead of it would have been, Joseph, it would have been Anne, okay? Anne, would have came along and and said, we're gonna raise baby Jesus. Okay, if it didn't matter, I'm just want you to understand. If it didn't matter, why did God go out of His way? Why did the Spirit go out of their way to make Joseph part of the conversation? Okay, that baby. You know why? What? Anybody know why? Because Mary probably would have been killed. It wasn't proper for a woman to have a child without a father or a man or not being in marriage. Did y'all hear that? It wasn't proper. It was unnatural. It wasn't a natural thing. So could you imagine if the behaviors that we're talking about today would have happened back then with baby Jesus? Do you think baby Jesus would have survived? You think Mary might have had that baby if the Spirit would have said, Anne, I need you to show up because Mary get ready to have baby Jesus, and I need you all to help raise baby Jesus up. Am I clowning too much, Vince? Am I clowning too much, Vince? No. Okay. What do you think, Peter?
Here's the truth be told. I don't believe that Jesus was born of the Spirit. I believe Jesus had a physical father, and it takes a seed and a sperm to have a child. But that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, it is, because then we got to get into Jesus and
who was Jesus' real physical father. I know I know, maybe I'll share it sometime, but I know who Jesus' physical father was. But we got another segment to get to. I'm going to drop that for the listening audience. You know,
Yeah,
who was Jesus' physical father?
That's pretty serious right there.
Well,
Who provided the sperm for the egg in Mary?
all right. Well, that's going to be probably a wrap for another conversation and everything. But this is the Truth Be Told show. We're going to go ahead and go to our commercial break, and then we're going to do a little music and come on back to Mr. Joe. Gonna come back and talk to us. We're getting ready to go hard here in a little bit. Here we go hard. Here we're going to go to commercial and then the music. Thank you, Truth Be Told, for allowing God's Lives Matter to be a sponsor. Wearable product as the purple T-shirt is bearing witness every life created by God has infinite value. This is God's Lives Matter. Hey folks, Mr. Just Ask Joe from the Truth Be Told show. It's historyuntold400.org. Remember, you never know where you're going until you know where you've been. It's History Untold.
What do you think about that, Joe? Me dropping that information on everybody.
What's up, folks? This is Mr. Just Ask Joe, and I want to tell you about a quaint little spot called D Nally's. Awesome food, great price, 970 South 3rd Street. Remember, D Nally's, 970 South 3rd Street. Check them out. Get something good to eat. I'm sick and tired of being criticized. Sick and tired of being tired. Sick and tired of not living right. Sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of being crucified. I'm sick and tired of going to hustle ride. Sick and tired of living any life. Sick and tired of being sick and tired. What is life? What is faith? Peace is there, right? Tell me if you're rich, you only got to worry about the house, the car, no shout, no DMV, kick those, no money, no problems. Man, I'm sick and tired of running and ducking. Quit running, man, especially when I ain't did nothing. Do something, man. Out here in these cold streets, hustling, phone trying to make this dope. Before the police bust it in, and then it's what it could have been. Find yourself outside looking in, giving up, feeling young. Man, in the world push you down and they getting up. Mad at yourself, cause you know I'm out of your day. I'm on the ride, on top of that, my 9 to 5. Plus, for a couple bucks and take them, what's the reason why my luck don't amount to, no matter how hard I try, I'm stuck in a 22, now catch me when I'm really tired of being criticized. Being tired of everything, tired of getting tired. And I'm so sick and tired of being pushed aside. We're being sick and tired of being played to the left, to the right. We sick and tired of going along just to get along. We sick and tired of old America in present day America. We sick and tired. We sick and tired. We can sick and tired. And what I've been hearing out here in the street is a whole lot of people who are sick and tired. Sick and tired. Sick and tired. Sick and tired. Look like we got a caller here. We're going to go and bring this caller in. Welcome to the Truth Be Told show.
Thank you so very much. I heard my name mentioned that I was going to eventually call in, even though I had not anticipated on calling in. Happy birthday, Joe. Happy birthday. And but I've heard the most profound thing said that I've ever heard in the history of radio. I've heard Louis Farrakhan make statements as to deny the fact that Mary, Jesus, was impregnated by the Holy Spirit. Peter Hayes, with all due respect, and I'm saying this, my brother, that you and everybody else who denied the virgin birth of Jesus Christ need to step down from ministry, brother. We're not going to have this. And I'm saying to Peter, I love you, and you can come over to my house and we'll sit down and talk. But to deny the fact that that which is conceived in Mary was of the Holy Spirit. Brother, Peter, you and do you have anything to say?
Hey, Brother Strong, have you heard of the story of Heru and the birth of the sun on December 25th? That story was carved on pyramids thousands of years before Christ ever got here. So really, I think that a lot of us need to open ourselves up to understand that there's more out there to understand. But nonetheless,
okay then, Joe. Joe, let me say this, and I'm gonna get off. I don't want to take any time, or any more time than I've already taken. This is one thing that we're going to have to be dogmatic about. There's nothing more to understand of who Jesus is, who his Father is. We're not going to say that Jesus was born with the corruptible sperm of a sperm-donor sinful man. That's out of bounds, brother. And like I say, I'm ready to talk about it anytime. But no, anybody else want to disagree, you can disagree. If you want to agree with it, you can do that. That's your right. But Jesus was born from God, the Father, the Holy Spirit. That's all I got to say. Thank y'all so very much for letting me get in.
Thank you, Mr. Strong. And we have another call. We got another call. Before Ed come on, I just want to say, we opened this show. Well, Joe, you want to start your dialogue with Sick and Tired, because we opened this show talking about Sick and Tired, and I guess I better just jump on it. I'm sick and tired of the traditional evangelical indoctrination of religion and ideology that I was born into. And what I found out is that there is the unlearn to relearn time in the 21st century. And it may be reasons why the descendants of American slaves, those people who come from the Afrocentric, wasn't allowed to participate in the original development of America. Maybe I don't know, okay? And maybe it has something to do with it. But we're men coming into ourselves now. And so many of us are sick and tired of buying into the narrative that we were been born into, we had to fight with. And I'm just saying, there's conversations that need to be had, and that's even when it comes down to the birth of Jesus Christ.
Amen, amen, amen.
Yeah, there's some spiritual stuff out there that people ain't thinking about. They ain't got that spiritual connection.
Do you want me to talk?
Hey,
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Ed.
You on
all right.
Come on.
Do you realize that 20% of illegal immigrants are in America? That means 66 million illegal immigrants are in charge, getting all this free money, all this free information, and our country, which was 22 trillion in debt, just after Trump, is now 33 trillion in debt. We are going approximately $750 billion a month with all these things that are happening. Yep. And what's disturbing me more than anything else is we're too busy, we're too late, and we're too important, and we don't get anything done because nobody seems to care about what our government is doing to us.
So what are you sick and tired of?
I'm tired of the lies. I'm tired of the people being abused. I'm tired that the black community is being short. Last week you said they're fourth. I want them to be first, and it can be done.
Yeah,
it can be done.
It can't be done if we continue to sit back and dwell on these religious issues that were taught from a historical text that people uphold as their deity more so than Father God himself. But I digress.
You know, you said something, Ed, and I want to put it on the airway, and I brought it to other people. You said something in your last time you was on the air. You said that you involved yourself in trying to help the Louisville community to come from out of the corruption that was being bestowed upon them by the Republican Party during that time. And then you got them to use their vote to move themselves out of that, and they swing to the Democratic side, and a lot of things changed. And then you came back and said that it's time for change, that we return back to our conservative roots and maybe have a conversation with those people on the conservative side to see about how we can restore some justice in there. I want to see, am I on track on what you was talking about? Did I read you right? What were you talking about there? Just real quick, Ed.
Right now, as you know, I'm in the process of doing something similar that I did 40 or 50 years ago. I'm trying to develop you fellows to be a group I'm going to be sending out letters. I got an agenda. I'm having a great deal of difficulty right now because my diabetes is really bothering the heck out of me. The agenda is I'm going to send a letter to the Democratic Committee. I'm going to send a letter to Rand Paul. I'm going to send a letter to President Trump. I'm going to send a letter to the Metro Council. I'm going to send a letter to the Pastoral Association, and I'm going to send a letter to Kevin Cosby.
So what exactly this letter? I mean, you're sick and tired.
I'm basically going to tell them that it's over for them. I'm going to try to teach as best I can to the Black community that this has got to stop. They got to stop lying. What transgender, the school boards, everybody is telling the Blacks what they're going to do, and they're telling the whites too. They have no hope whatsoever as long as they leave our government like it is. They got to vote, and they got to change the agenda. So I'm going to try. I told you I was going to type the letters out, and I'm going to send you the copies to the group, which in turn I hope you pass it on to the Black community as the things that they need to do. They got to learn to say no. They got to vote no. The answer is no. Our country, trillions of dollars, $750 billion a month, giving it to illegal immigrants that have no reason to get anything for free. Free phones, free food, free hospitalization, free. When are the Black community going to say, "Hey, Ed, join us"? Say no.
All right.
And that's what I'm going to try to do.
Well, thank you for.
And I did not do a very good job of explaining this.
Well, that's okay. Well, thank you for coming on. Hey, Joe, this is your segment here, and I do want to reemphasize something that he said something about the 20% of immigrants coming into our country and everything, illegal immigrants coming into our country and getting right ahead of the descendants of American slaves. And so I'm sick and tired of political parties willing to put other demographics of people ahead of people in America that was born and created this country and everything, ahead of them. See, I'm sick and tired of that. Okay, and there's only one party that's doing that. Okay, there's don't even sugarcoat that. All right, everybody want to sugarcoat it, but I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. We got to call it out for what it is. Joe, come on, talk to me, man.
Hey, man, all I want to say, before we go to break and everything, I'm sick and tired. Honestly, I'm sick and tired of this division. We have so many layers of division. First, there's human. Okay, we're all human. All right, that brings us together. All right, we all have blue blood floating throughout our body. You get cut, the air hits it, oxygen hits it, it turns red. We all do that the same. If you don't, you're an alien. All right. With that being said, then you have the next degree of separation, man and woman. Then you have the next degree of separation of religion. Then you have politics. We have so many layers of separation here. You know, it's a wonder why the world keeps getting destroyed over and over, you know, simply because we can't ever get it right because everybody's so worried. You know, I mean, Peter makes a point from his point of view, and then someone calls in to say, hey, you are wrong and you should be set down because of it. That's not right. That's another degree of separation. How about calling in and saying, hey, brother, I want to sit down and have a conversation with you about that. I don't agree, but I love you as another human being. I want to sit down and have a conversation about that. See, there is a way to sit there and agree to disagree, yet focus on humanity as your first and foremost thing. I'm sick and tired of people not getting that through their head because you're just creating yet again another degree of separation. Right now, hey, it's my birthday. Let's go to commercial. It's the Truth Be Told show, y'all.
And do that unlearn and relearn. Thank you, Truth Be Told, for allowing God Lives Matter to be a sponsor. Wearable product as the purple t-shirt is bearing witness. Every life created by God has infinite value. This is God Lives Matter. Hey folks, Mr. Just Ask Joe from the Truth Be Told show. It's historyuntold400.org. Remember, you never know where you're going until you know where you've been. historyuntold400.org. Check it out. What's up, folks? This is Mr. Just Ask Joe, and I want to tell you about a quaint little spot called Nally's. Awesome food, great price, 970 South 3rd Street. Remember, Nally's, 970 South 3rd Street. Check them out. Get something good to eat.
Be dispelled. I'm hearing black people going around saying that slavery destroyed the black family. Nothing could be further from the truth. Slavery didn't destroy the black family. Do you know that we were still getting married through slavery, jumping a broom in secret, even under punishment of death? We were married during Reconstruction. We were married during civil rights. When do you begin to see of the single-parented black female household? 1970. After they killed Dr. King, the United States government said we must neutralize the black power base. And they determined that the black power base was the black family. It was independent black skilled men and women who financed King, financed Mr. Garvey, financed Mr. Muhammad, financed Nick and Core, the Freedom Riders in the sit-in movement. So they said, if we want to crush the black struggle, we got to crush the black family. So guess what they did in 1970? King dies in 68. In 1970, they came into the black communities and de-industrialized our city centers. In 1970, they started shutting down the factories. Remember, up until the 50s and 60s, you didn't need a college degree to get a decent job. Many of us got grandparents who worked in factories their whole life and lived better lives than we're living now with 2 and 3 degrees. They could work in their same neighborhood, and everybody worked for the factory. Good retirement, pension, benefits, medical. They started shutting down the factories in 1970, and then they went into the high schools and did what? Started de-industrializing the inner city high schools. Up until 1970, you could graduate from almost any school in New York certified as a plumber, certified as an electrician, certified as a carpenter, auto body, brick mason, a welder. They took all those programs out. These are the skills that pays the bills, gentlemen. As long as you have a skill, you can always feed your family. But if all you got is college degrees, unemployment line. Why? Because the skills that we learn in college are not necessarily marketable to other black people. I'm a psychologist. Ain't too many black people running around looking for a psychologist to reveal all the skeletons in their closet. And you rather talk to a white. Exactly. So they started sending us to college instead of teaching us how to work with our hands. That was the 70s. That was the economic castration of the black male. Now let's go to 1980. The CIA comes in, cocaine import agency. They drop off crack. So now the unemployed black man, who has always been a breadwinner, even in slavery, we were always the breadwinner up until 1970. Now the crack comes. You got a decision. I can sell this crack and try to put some food on the table, or I can smoke it to deal with the fact that I'm no longer economically relevant to the black woman. And let's be clear, the decade of the 70s was the decade of making the black man economically irrelevant to the black woman. We're the only man in America who is out-earned and out-educated by our mates. No other woman in America out-earns and out-educates their mates. And this is not the black woman's problem. I want to be clear. This was systematically done to make us irrelevant to our family. Be dispelled. I'm hearing black people going around saying that slavery destroyed the family.
I really thank you, Vince, for playing that piece of Umar Johnson.
Don't that go
Umar
with
Johnson,
everything we're talking about right now?
Hey, brother, it's tied into everything. That's the reason why I wanted to play that, brother. It was an intentional thing to play that little piece there, right there. This is the segment. This is Uncle Meshaw's segment here. You know, tied right back in. It's sick and tired. Sick and tired. You know what I'm sick and tired of? I'm sick and tired of what Umar Johnson was talking about. We always want to blame everybody else, but we don't want to look at ourselves. I want to talk about what the very thing that we really not really talking about, the destruction of the family when it comes down to the man. Look what's happening to Will Smith right now. Look what's happening to Will Smith. And our black women don't even realize sometimes they're being the tool that help destroy. I predicted this. Y'all didn't, you see, remember I said this last week on the show. I said the prediction is that slap going to come down and be a reflection of the black women, okay, destroying black men. I'm going to go right here, right now. Guess what just came out? Will Smith and Jada Smith get a divorce, a $400 million divorce, because the family is under attack. And where we got the attack from, it came from our women. See, I will not forget what my wife said to me when she heard me first acknowledging that I was supporting Will for slapping Chris Rock. She immediately said to me, she said, first of all, if I would have looked at you like Jada looked at you, you would have stopped immediately because you're comfortable in your relationship with me, and you would not have gone up there. You would not. But my wife specifically said, I wouldn't allow you to go up there because you were going to embarrass us all. You would embarrass yourself. You're embarrassing me. You're embarrassing your family. You're embarrassing your work that you have done. You're embarrassing everything. You would embarrass everything about you. That is what's going on right now. Am I right, Vince? Am I right, Vince? Come on, say something to me, Vince. Is that what's going on right now?
Yes, sir. You're right.
I mean,
That's
is that, and did we just say the destruction of the family? We said 1970 was the destruction of the family, right?
That's right.
But now it was a system put in place to destroy it. But now we're part of that system within ourselves. Peter Hayes, you said something last week, okay? You said something 2 weeks ago, and you was attacking the black family and what we were doing, and you said we were stupid. And so people got offended that you said that. So you said,
let's be clear. Let's be clear. It was a pun. It was a pun of our Mr. Whitey segment, and it was the ability to allow people to hear things from a European point of view, and you know that you don't often get to hear. So I just want to make that clear as to whatever was said during that time was said on the basis of that.
Peter was the voice, but he was acting out in Mr. Whitey. But my point is that
I was channeling Slade Moss, the Democrat.
Right.
But he called in, and I was just reporting what Slade Moss, the Democrat, thinks about y'all.
Yes, exactly. Well, guess what? I took a master phone call, okay, of people, Joe, they were sick and tired of feeling inferior because they heard Mr. Whitey say what they said, and their feelings got hurt, Joe. Joe, I told you, I called my friend, and I have to admit, I was a little heavy with it because, you know, I love her. I don't want nobody hurting us and mistreating, talking to us all crazy. So I got caught up in it. Then I realized, Joe, you made it very clear. I thank you for that. You brought me around. You made me to realize. These are the same people who allowed the N-word to be said by our children. I never allowed to be said in my household, but these are the same people allowed the N-word to be said. These are the same people that celebrated the Super Bowl, and they said that was the best music because of the hip hop culture and everything was going on. These are the same people who allowed our children to say all type of crazy things and everything. And so now, when they hear someone say something to them about you have allowed this to happen to yourself, then they're angry because they can't accept the truth. Come on, Joe, talk to me.
Well, these are the same people who should have done something about the N-word long ago. You know, don't be mad when you hear a pun of a segment on the radio. You should have did something about the white man calling you the N-word long ago. Don't sit here and throw your chest out now because you heard something on the radio and now you want to talk some stuff. Nah, you should have been talking some stuff. See, I couldn't have been a slave, Sean. I could not have been a slave. I'm a light-skinned brother. I would have been in the house and I would have murdered everybody. That would have been me as a slave. I probably would have been killed early on. They might have wrote some books about me, but I would have murdered everybody and I would have ran to the next house, murdered them too. I would have ran to the next house, murdered them too. I would have ran to the next house and murdered them too. But guess what kept a lot of us from doing that? Because we were so caught up in this biblical text, holding it to such high esteem as a deity rather than your spiritual connection with the Father. Right? So that Bible that Massa used against you told you not to do that, told you that murder was wrong. Nah, bro, I would have went and I would have got everybody. So those brothers right there that you talking about, those brothers got a problem with their own inferiority complex, and they need to get that stuff together first before they call up and tell anybody about what they should and should not do.
Amen. Let's check that, okay? Because this is the same people who talk about you allowed masters to teach you the same religious nonsense that has kept you docile for over 50 years. So I'm not angry. I have to. I'm a publicly say, I apologize to all the American European culture, okay? Not that you're deserving of it. No, let's just make this clear. Not because you're deserving of it, okay? Because you're not deserving of it, okay? Because many of you have not done what you needed to do, but do the right thing. You know, it's a biblical story with Esau, okay, and Jacob. Esau knowingly knew that his brother stole his birthright. He knew it, okay? Jacob, through his mother, knowingly knew that he stole Esau's birthright. That little story there, Joseph came out of, okay? Oh, y'all maybe think, I wasn't raised in religion. My mother hated the white man's religion. I'm going to just go here. My mother is a practicing Muslim till this day. She didn't raise me on white Christianity religion. She did it intentionally. I realized my mother was just like Jacob. Just like Jacob. I just came to this revelation. Just like Jacob. She prepared her son to go get his birthright, to go get his inheritance, go get his true birth. My mother done that for me because she kept me from that European ideology point of view of Christianity. Okay? Now, here I am on the airway, here to talk about getting my birthright because I'm not your Negro. I'm not your black. I'm not your African American, but I am an American descendant of slaves. That's what I'm sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of these religious preachers, black preachers, anybody who celebrated the holiday season and you called yourself a black Christian and a white Christian, you practice pagan. You're practicing paganism. We got a caller on the line. Welcome to the Truth Show.
Welcome, caller.
Come on, welcome, caller.
Hey, am I on?
You are.
You are? Hey, shalom, my brothers. I pray you all are all doing well.
Shalom.
I just tuned in, and you got me on fire. But our brothers and sisters who are, I say Christianity. but it's really paganism. If you're telling your children Happy Easter, if you're taking them on Easter egg hunt, you're in paganism. But back to your comment about slavery. We have to, as descendants of American slavery, we have to understand, come to the realization of how we came to be in that predicament, and it was because we forsook the Most High, right? So it's curses that are attached to the true children of Israel, and this is how we can follow the true descendants of the Israelites throughout the world, because He says that He's going to scatter them to the four corners of the world. Deuteronomy chapter 28, it speaks about our captivity here and the way that we would be treated. So I challenge all the readers or all the listeners to check that chapter out in the scripture. And if you believe that Christianity, or let's just say the Bible, if you believe that it's a white man's religion, you still lost, because it's not. It's an Eastern culture, and what it is and what we're reading about in those scriptures is our ancestors and their relationship with the Most High. All right, you all be blessed. Shalom.
And I wanna add to this conversation what you're talking about.
Hey, hey, listen. Let's do this. Let's break for commercials. It's 9:46, and when we come back, we'll talk about how you can join in on the conversation, and Uncle Misha, and you can add to that conversation. Then it's the Truth Be Told show, y'all. We'll be right back.
Thank you, Truth Be Told, for allowing God's Lives Matter to be a sponsor. Wearable product as the purple T-shirt is bearing witness. Every life created by God has infinite value. This is God's Lives Matter. Hey folks, Mr. Just Ask Joe from the Truth Be Told show. With HistoryUntold400.org. Remember, you never know where you're going until you know where you've been. HistoryUntold400.org. Check them out. What's up, folks? This is Mr. Just Ask Joe. And I want to tell you about a quaint little spot called D. Nally's. Awesome food, great price, 970 South 3rd Street. Remember, D. Nally's, 970 South 3rd Street. Check them out. Get something good to eat. All right. This is so rich, and Joe, this part of the show we're supposed to be talking about, and I know that my partner Mark is going to be talking about giving some solutions, but I want to make sure on this part of, we do talk about the solutions, but I want to also add to what the brother was saying, because I know there's a great movement of people calling themselves Israelites, and I know a lot of people are talking about the white man Bible and a whole lot of stuff and everything. And I just want to add this in before I see we got another caller, but I want to add this in here real quick. I said earlier that my mother is a Muslim. She's practicing Muslim. But before my mother became a Muslim, she was just a person that stood up against some things that she did not like, okay? And so she made a commitment to her relationship with her Creator, and she said she was not going to pass on things to her children that she didn't understand. My mother holds true to that. My whole child life, she did not allow me to go to anybody's church, none of them. And so I didn't get to going to church until I joined the military. I'm thankful for that, because it allowed me as a grown man to make a decision about following my Creator, not religion, but my Creator. And so what I found out is that I will never, no longer allow someone else to ever tell me to get me unfocused about my Creator. Whether you call it Shalom, whether you call it Israelite, whether you call it Christianity, whether you call it Yahweh, whether you call it whatever you want to call it, okay? It is what it is. But we only have one Creator over one humanity, and color is the division. And anytime you put anything else in there other than saying it's our Most High, the Most High is what's given us life, then you're suspect to me, okay? You're suspect to me, because you're no different than the dominant European culture who wanted to make anything else greater than anything else. It's the Most High that gives us life. It's the Most High that gives us spirit. It's the Most High that makes us you either a believer or a non-believer. That's simple as it is with me. You're either a believer or a non-believer.
Hey, Uncle Misha, let's go ahead and take that caller, And then after that, we got Peter Hayes jumping in there with some comments as well. Caller, welcome to the Truth Be Told show.
Yes, sir. Good morning, my brothers.
Good morning, family.
Good morning. Good morning. I would just like to say this. I heard you guys speaking about the 70s.
Yes.
And I mean, if you want to go that route, I know you was talking about the thousands and things a while ago. But I heard you say some things about the 70s. I don't know where you guys were during the 70s. And
61, so I was in it, bro.
Okay, well, so if you was in it then, so I want to bring you back, especially if you was in, if you worked with the government, whatever it may be.
I was in the military.
You remember? All right, then, well, you remember Reaganomics?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then, so you saw during Reaganomics this trickle-down thing.
Yes,
that
sir.
was supposed to happen for the worker, and it didn't pan out that way.
Correct.
You remember the SNL scandal?
Yes, sir.
Remember all that?
Yes, sir.
And also, so you remember some other things what the Republican Party was doing to the economy when we say employment was on the rise during the 70s.
I agree.
And we saw a lot of things that was happening there. You remember when Reaganomics went into lockbox of Social Security? You remember that?
Oh, yeah, yes, sir. I remember all that.
You remember all that. And then also you see how the Republican Party will begin to destroy the economical wealth of the workers. And when you talk about plants and you talk about factories, majority of them who owned and ran those companies and plants, they were Republicans because the majority of them had government contracts.
You
remember that?
Yes, sir. Let me ask you something.
Sure.
Okay. You brought in the studies when culturally we got the Steve into the Republican Party, but let's go back to the 30s and the 40s when we were all conservative. We were never Democratic, a part of any of that. We were conservative. And do you remember this? Maybe you don't know this because you wasn't alive, but if you go research that our people, our demographics of people before the 60s, all the way up to the 60s, we were less than, we was the highest percentage of people that had a family, a nucleus of a family. We had the highest economics in growing. Before, do you remember this? Black Wall Street. If you go back and research Black Wall Street, it was our demographics of people, okay, that had the highest wealth of economics that was going on and everything. And we got to always stop and point things. We gave up on us. We allowed the bombing to come along and destroy us. We allowed people to trick us, okay? And we gave up. And then we allowed our black preachers to do what they did to us. See, I grew up in the 70s. If you're going to talk about the 70s, bro, I grew up with the pimp. My uncles were pimp, okay? My aunts were hoes, okay? I grew up in a time where all we did is trash for one another. We screwed one another. We were screwing other wives. We were doing all crazy stuff while all that was going on. Don't tell me about what somebody else was doing, because I lived what we were doing to us. What we were doing to us, okay?
Well, okay. What I was saying, what I mean is, I agree. It's the historical point that was left that we understand now. Black Wall Street or home and all. I understand that.
Hey, right on.
The point that I was making was this: is that we began to have a voting bloc strong enough in the 70s that shifted. Like you said, we registered Republicans. Wasn't no doubt about that, but we didn't have a voting bloc. We didn't have a say in politics.
Mr. Ed, we did not know how to vote. He said that culturally, we did not know how to make a vote for it. We allowed ourselves like sheep to be deceived by both parties, man. It's not, we can't blame just one party. It is both parties. I'm not like sheep.
Hold on, Uncle Michon.
Okay, well, I'm not trying to blame anything on one party, because our lives and quality is shift towards what's happening around us. Right. See, that's how we go. We shift what's going around us. And oftentimes, we will vote the way that's going to help us have a quality of life. Who is hearing our complaints and willing to address them in a way, whether you're Democrat or Republican.
I agree.
So that's why I was saying earlier that, sure enough, our ancestors came from Republican background because of Lincoln. But long during the 40s and the 50s and 60s and things like that, wasn't neither one of them doing that much until the Democrats began to hear the cry of the black folks. When you talk about civil rights and equal opportunity and things like that, unions and things like that. But I would confess to this, during the 70s, that's when they began to begin to weaken part of the black family economically. When they hold on, let me finish. When we began to assimilate into unions. And that was one of the platforms that the Republican Party was doing, this weakening the union. And you had white and black folks in there. And we see that similar, well, they're trying to get stronger now. Because union employment have built this country also too, and quality of life and communities too.
I recognize.
So that's what I wanted to say. Thanks, my brother. I continue to listen. Yes.
No, I love conversation.
Hey, so May, thanks, caller, for calling in. That was absolutely amazing.
You dropped. I was off and I heard what you're saying.
Yeah, no, you dropped some stuff that many don't and haven't. Hey, Peter, you had a comment real quick before we close out. Go ahead and drop that real quick.
Yeah, Joe, to build upon what you said is the humanity issue. If we have the God consciousness that we are one family under God, that's what we should be promoting.
Exactly.
Because anything else besides that just leads us to division based on religion, skin color, political things.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what we need to lift up, that God consciousness. And when we start blaming others and blaming, that's just part of the fallen nature we inherited from our original ancestors. So let's take responsibility and let's create a better world of justice and peace for all. And we can do it. These systems were made by man, and they can be unmade by man and remade by man. And so that's the solution part that we need to be working on.
Absolutely. That, and you guys can hear a lot of that on the Tipping Point Show every Saturday, 9 a.m. Just check us out, the Tipping Point Show on YouTube. But that God force energy, that God consciousness that allows, that we all have the ability to tap into. All right, that we all have the ability to tap into to make our lives as great as we ever wanted to make it. That is absolutely true. Remember, folks, the answer to poverty is to create wealth. So if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, then guess what? Go ahead and do that. Focus on creating wealth. Layman's term, the ability to live your life the way that you want to live it without having to work for it. All right. So don't be mad at the fact that the basketball player is rich, but the owner of the team is wealthy. All right. So think about that. Now, I want everybody to remember they can help support the Truth Be Told show or the Truth Be Told radio show by going to www.truthbetold.com. That's truth with an E. Make a donation and follow us on Facebook at Truth Be Told Radio. And listen, it has been a pleasure. We will see you all next week. Same place, same time. Uncle Meshorn, close us out real quick.
This has been an awesome show, and I just want to say, make America greater than it's ever been. Make America greater than it's ever been. Then what America is great, we spills over into the world, and then God, only God gets the credit for what we have done here with this life that we have. That's the truth, and you heard it here on the Truth Be Told. See you next week.
Peace.
Thank you.
There we go, Joe.
Coming back in, y'all. Give me 1 second.
All righty.
All right. Is everybody there?
Yep. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Here, folks. Got to make some runs, but we'll talk for a few minutes here on somewhat of an after show. I want to give a shout out to Deneen Perry Henderson, who gave me a happy birthday. Appreciate that. Absolutely. Love when I get happy birthdays and stuff like that. I'm old school like that, y'all. But here we go.
All right, cue the music.
Cueing music.
Start the music.
Starting music.
And go.
It's the Truth Be Told show, where we place America first. Honoring those who America has forgotten. Listen in and unlearn to relearn. As we set the record straight. And now, your host of the Truth Be Told show, Mr. Just Ask Joe and Uncle Mishorn.
All right. So just, a couple minutes here. If there's anything that wants to be said, wrapped up, or anything, I don't know if Uncle Mishorn is still with us or not. I see him still here, but that just could mean that he didn't exit officially. But Peter, any last words?
Oh yeah, I thought it was, we hit on a whole bunch of different topics, but yeah, it's very interesting. I think, what we're talking about, that God consciousness, more and more my personal, I've been, when I focus on that, I think see the world and people in a different light than when I get into these lower, third dimensional type of understanding.
Oh man.
Right.
Yeah.
When we
absolutely these lower vibrational conversations that keep people like this rather than allow people to be like this. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. It's a lower vibrational thought process, and unfortunately, that is how man's consciousness has been brought down. And it's like it's like a big pot that's stirring, and somebody just keeps throwing more bullshit in that pot. Yeah. They just keep throwing more BS in that pot. Let's talk about let's bring the slavery issue up again. Boom, let's drop that in there. You know what? We should get an officer to go out there and put his knee on neck. We don't have any officers to use. Well, I tell you what, let's use some sheriffs and put some vest on them. And well, what about an ambulance? We can make those. We've been making them for the FBI and the CIA all this time. We can make an ambulance, well, what about training them on how to pull them out in and out the ambulance, the fake ambulance? Well, we'll give them a quick training, and then anybody with an actual eye looks at that and says, dude, that was fake. But hey,
that's a good point. We're throwing in cow manure, then chicken manure. Every day it's a different flavor of BS and manure. You're right, and it's just thrown into the pot. And
yeah, man. So this divisional conversation out there is a lower vibrational thought process. Conversation of religion, conversation of slavery, conversation. Instead of, let's talk God consciousness. Let's talk how you have the ability to tap into that God force energy to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish, to get out there and create the life that you want to create. We had a friend over, my lady and I had a friend over Sunday, and she talked about how her work day that day was great, but her Monday work day is going to be terrible. Guess what her Monday work day was?
Terrible.
It was terrible. Yeah. Right? Because she spoke that out into the universe. This is the matrix, folks. Whatever you say, you are right in whatever you say. If you say it's going to be a great day, it's going to be a great day. If you say it's going to be a terrible day, it's going to be a terrible day, because you are putting things into your subconscious to allow your brain to look at that window of a subconscious and then create whatever it is that it sees in that window of that subconscious. What's up, Uncle Mishorn?
Hey, man, y'all are all on point. You're all on point. Great show, far as I'm concerned. How y'all feel?
Oh, man, fantastic show. This was great. It got me fired up, absolutely. And, we definitely talking about some things that need to be talked about. But you know, the reason why we as a people are in the condition. You know, my dad texted me the other day. He said, you know, black on black crime isn't as abnormal when you compare it to nature. And he said because there is a food chain in nature, and those that are at the bottom of the food chain get ate. You know what I mean? He was watching that new Netflix special with Obama narrating about the parks and whatnot, the national parks around the world. And you know, that's in the top of things being viewed right now on Netflix. But yeah, they talk about the food chain and how the bottom support the food chain. You know, they get ate, and the people at the top of the food chain is able to thrive. So with that being said, I told him, I said, hey, I'm just tired of being at the bottom of the food chain as a people.
See, that is exactly, I mean, you know, living in the West End, I didn't know this, you know, I didn't know this. I really did not know this. It's not until I started living in the West End, okay? My wife wanted to live our family and everything. I was already a conservative when my wife met me. I'm just want to tell you that your father told you is so very true. But when you are a person that is self-preservation, so I'm an alpha, okay? I'm an alpha, and I'm trying to take care of but I'm living around a bunch of people who are what? Part of the food chain. Y'all hear what I'm saying? They're part of the food chain. They positioning themselves to stay the food chain. Okay, do y'all hear what I'm saying? You see, they are positioning themselves to remain in the food chain. But I'm an alpha. You remember Joe Peter used to come to 40th Street and everything, and who was organizing the alpha? Me. I was organizing. I'm making things happen, doing things. And remember the first time we had them to sing the national anthem? You remember how that was like? Oh my God, singing remember that?
Oh yeah,
That incident when I tried to ask him to sing the national anthem. Not that I was proud to be an American. They went and had a problem because they were bottom, as you were saying, Joe. They have accepted being bottom part of the food chain, and they hated America. They hated to sing the national anthem. Remember that, Peter?
Oh yeah, that was the kickoff of the worldwide 40 Days of Peace campaign on 40th Street. And yes, and when you played the national anthem, people were grumbling, and yeah, but it shows, you know, we were talking earlier about that dimensional mentality where people are divided and they blame others. And when you're in the fourth and fifth dimensional God consciousness, you see
Marcus
opportunity.
said we didn't show no remedies. Okay, did you see his text? You just saw his text?
Yeah, we didn't get that section was a little bit cut short, but
Yeah,
anyway.
no, you know, I mean, and that's true. It sometimes, you know,
well,
we're not perfect, and things happen, and you know, and no remedy. So okay, let's give some remedies right now. Let's talk about. We were talking about it yesterday. We're still live. Let's give some remedies right now.
You know, I would say you brought it up, Joe. The most important thing is we focus on
create wealth.
God consciousness.
God consciousness, absolutely. That and that would be the first thing. I would say that would be the first thing. Is focus on God consciousness. Y'all got to get out of the box and get out of this religious box, get out of this race box, get out of all these boxes, this woman box, this man box. Get out of all these boxes and realize that I can't do without you, and you can't do without me. We can't do without we. Okay, we need each other. Okay, so let's get out of these boxes. That's the first, and focus on that God consciousness.
You got to have that God consciousness, because that's exactly.
Second thing I'd say is, as you're focusing on that God consciousness, remember the ability to tap into that God force energy gives you the ability to create wealth.
That shouldn't be second. Ho. Nope. That should not be second. Nope. Family. See, God, family, then wealth. See, you got to keep it in order, bro. Got to keep it in order.
There you go.
Family.
There you go.
See,
So God consciousness, family, and then wealth.
And
Because
then
when
wealth.
you have family, and if you're focusing on family properly, hey, when the statistically people come in from other countries, and
Right.
within 7 years they have created wealth by way of business. And you know what helps them in creating that wealth? Their family. Their family and their
Exactly.
friends, the people
And
that look
Peter's
like them.
part.
So
The
God
reason why.
consciousness and then
Yeah.
family. If you're focused on family properly, you can go to the third one very easily and create wealth.
And here's the reason I where it said family. Family got nothing to do with skin color. Peter's part of my family. You're part of my family. I have multiple people who are part of my family. Had I not been willing to look outside and looked on the God force and saw that there were multiple people who was created by God that was sent in my life to help me to create wealth, I would have never developed the wealth that I have right now. Could you catch that? Did you catch what I just said?
Yeah.
Had I not been willing to look outside, just my family, but all type of families, okay, and learn from that, okay. Those new families help me create the wealth that not my immediate blood family, not the people that look like me, but just people outside my traditional family. Do that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I would say with the God conscious, and you brought up earlier, all human beings are part of our human family, and that's the way the Creator looks at things.
There you go.
Fallen man divides things up, and it creates chaos. I mean, look at Russia and Ukraine. You got European Christians, Putin fighting another European Christian, Zelensky, and tearing up the world. So,
can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
listen, I'm gonna read you something. I stepped out of the StreamYard to go to my text yesterday in my group with my brothers and.
Yeah.
Now we can't hear you, Joe.
Now we can hear you.
Yeah, that God consciousness is key.
Okay. You guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see if I can read this to you real quick. Let me see something here. Let me see if I can make this happen. Open split screen view. Let's see here. Okay. So that and that. Okay. All right. So you guys hear me okay now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me read this. I sent in my brothers and father group text that we have this Facebook post, and it was a video about a gentleman talking about the story of Heru, right? And how, you know, the sun came up, the solstice or whatever on December 25th and blah blah blah. You know, the idea is that the Europeans stole that story, which has been written on in hieroglyphics and understood for thousands of years, you know, before Christianity and everything else, before, you know, BC, before Christ. But this story, it's as if the Bible mimics that story, right?
Exactly.
And so I said stuff like this makes it. I said stuff like this makes it difficult to believe the Bible when you're talking about text or writings that are around thousands of years BC, right? And my brother, he commented, he said, the Bible is literary art. And being that it's art, it's multi-layered with symbolism and esoteric elements from other writings. It's a museum of everyone's teachings pointing inward, you know? And I was like, wow, that's pretty dope. You know, and my dad said, Easter and Christmas aren't from the Bible anyway, so there's no conflict. But you have to keep it in perspective. The Bible is just a historical book. The New Testament really shouldn't be part of the Bible. It would be better served as a separate book, and the New Testament should begin at Acts. Now, think about that. This is coming from a man who fire and brimstone preacher. at one point. But he had an awakening and realized that instead of serving God, we were serving the church, and begin to focus on a journey, a spiritual journey, outside of that. So, it's just interesting when you look at, how now they view the Bible in understanding it as a historical text versus what most people believe. People believe it's the word of God. And that is something that people who are waking up are starting to realize that Paul, when Paul was writing letters, he didn't think that those letters were going to end up as in a book somewhere, teaching people of what not to do and helping Baptist people tell women to wear long dresses. No, he didn't think that. He did that because that was his point of view, and he was reprimanding the church, that particular church at that time. But then somebody decided to take it and put it together as part of this quote unquote Bible. When Jesus left, he didn't say he was leaving y'all the Bible. He was leaving the Holy Spirit is what he left. People think that the Bible is what was left. No, it was the Holy Spirit, so that you can get closer to the Father. And with that being said, Deepak Chopra came out years ago and he said Jesus came back to point us back to the Father, and we got stuck staring at his finger.
Oh, there you go. Hey, how about this, Joe and me, Shorn? So imagine if our Facebook posts, which are crazy stuff, we go off and, try to troll people and get them fired up. 2,000 years later, our Facebook post is the word of God, gospel, and they put it in a book and say, Joe the disciple and me, Shorn, and Peter disciple, these are the main spokesmen for all humanity. How crazy would that be?
Absolutely. That would be nuts.
But that's what they did. And and all knowledge comes from the creator, and it's been an evolution of knowledge. So we all getting bits and pieces more, just like technology. Remember the flip phones, now these phones here, these are
this is
most powerful thing on earth. Well, imagine if someone took that flip phone and said, no, that's it, nothing else is being created. And if a flip phone is the highest level of technology, and by golly, and this is where they want to stone heretic, call me a heretic. Oh, wait a minute. So you're not using the flip phone. You got a smartphone? Yeah. Well, we're going to kill you. We're going to stone you because we're stuck on the flip phone.
Exactly.
Even the conversation today, like, did Jesus have a father, human father? I mean, that's a very important discussion. As far as we know, no human being on earth has ever been created without a sperm and an egg. So, how is that possible? But
and really, and before you go into what you're about to say, Peter, just think about this. God created universal laws.
Yes.
For a purpose.
Principles.
So principles, right? So even God follows those universal laws, which means that man or anyone to come into the earth legally would have to come by birth.
Yeah.
To leave the earth legally would have to be by death, and maybe an alien, if you get out into outer space or whatever, right? Or to exit breath from your life would have to be by death, right? So if God is a God of principles, all right, so we can believe that. Everybody will shout to that.
Everybody knows that.
Then you would have to believe that God would follow his own principles. So though someone would want to make it seem as though Jesus came by this supernatural way,
who would do that? I want you to.
Anyone who wanted to hold Jesus to a high esteem in order to get people to line up with that for
you're right.
control purposes.
And
And at
Joe,
that time, the control purposes would have been the Catholic Church, would have been
yeah,
Catholicism, because and think about it. Constantine, 300 AD, Constantine did not want Christianity to seem greater than his pagan god. So what did he do? He merged the two, which is how Catholicism and its pagan ideology was birthed.
but Joe,
Can you
not
hear me,
even
Peter?
just no, you're right, and not just Catholicism.
Hey, Joe, you're breaking up.
It,
You're breaking
Orthodox,
up.
Orthodox.
It's you, Uncle Mishon. I think you're breaking up.
Yeah.
Cut your Wi-Fi off. I don't know.
Yeah, and Joe, you're right about that. It wasn't just Catholicism, because the three major branches that came out of the Council of Nicaea, what you're talking about in 319, was Catholic Church based out of Rome, the Orthodox Church based out of Greece, and now Russia, the Russian Orthodox, but then the Coptic Church based out of Egypt and Ethiopia. So all three of them bought into that insanity. And that's why Christianity has not been a very effective tool to bring about a world of justice and peace, because they all three got it wrong. And all of modern day Christianity, that the over 2.7 billion, there's about half of them are Catholic and half are Protestant. They all bought into that doctrine, and like you said, which merged paganism and the reality, historic, and I've been to Bible college, so I'm a theologian. There's no evidence that this guy they call Jesus, the Messiah, ever really existed. The whole story of Josephus, as you know the story, the emperor was called God, and his son Josephus was called the Son of God, and that's what they came up with, this idea that this supposed person Jesus was God the Creator, was born without human sperm, you know, you know that whole doctrine they came up with came out of that, and that spread. So that's why when I said the fact that did Jesus, I know for a fact Jesus had a physical father, and I know who it was. And anyway, the fact that we could come up with an ideology that a human being can be born without a sperm and an egg through a womb is incredible. But when you got the vast majority of people believing that and celebrating that, what can you do? But it's a great way to control people. Here's the damage of that whole ideology. Now, if we teach that Jesus or Gandhi or Dr. King or Moses, these great people, just like us, we're trying to do the best we can to bring about that God consciousness, but we're human beings, okay? Now, if we make some success and victory, that's a good lesson to teach others. But if I would if I would say, well, Peter Hayes is God, and you need to worship me, and you don't need to learn some of the stuff I'm teaching you and become a God man or a God woman. But no, you just need to worship me and lift me up. Well, doesn't that leave you off the hook from your portion of responsibility?
Exactly. No, you're right. But here's my question, Peter, because you're talking about Jesus and his potential father, actual sperm father, biological father on Earth. But you're also talking about the fact that there's no, scientific fact that Jesus existed. So clarify.
Well, okay. Like you said earlier, the Old Testament is a history, and it's written by man, and the Jews, they claim that they're the chosen people, and they were chosen. Now, one thing differentiating the Jewish culture was they were monotheistic, which is one creator. At the time, paganism is the idea that there's multiple gods. So that is a special ideology, that monotheism, one creator. Okay. Now, the whole idea of their Messiah, their concept of the Messiah is totally different than New Testament concept of the Messiah. The Jewish concept of the Messiah is one of their own, one from Judaism. Leader's going to come and lead the world into a world of justice and peace based on reason, the whole world. And that person's going to be a man, not a god, not coming from heaven. He's coming from the lineage of Judaism. So if you talk to any rabbi, and I was in Israel, talked to the chief rabbinical council of Israel, they'll say their concept of a Messiah, which is a true man, true person, is a human being, a Jewish human being, comes from their lineage that's going to be a great leader and lead this world into a world of justice and peace. Kind of the world that was envisioned in the original story, right? Of that perfect, where the creator and human beings and animals got along and everything was kosher, no pun intended, before this
So
world.
where did Adam come from?
That's an age-old question.
Hey, look, I'm gonna read y'all this real quick. The Annunciation stories in Matthew and Luke claim that Jesus was conceived without a human father, but later in the Gospel of Luke, Joseph is listed as Jesus' quote parent and father. Luke 2:27, 33, 48, and 422. Indeed, through Joseph's lineage, Jesus is shown to have descended from King David. Luke 3:23 through 38. Do these accounts contradict the Annunciation stories?
Well, yeah, the main thing, it was the lineage was important. Now, if we specifically, and this is when I teach people, say we need to be biblical detectives, not just biblical detective means that you look at the evidence and the scene and you question. Like if there's a car crash and, hey, Mr. Tapper, what happened? Well, that red car cut off the blue car. And, then they got on fighting. Okay, Mr. Mishorn, what happened? Well, no, it was that blue car that cut off the red car. And then the guy in the red car hit him. So, and then you do, and then you say a bystander, what did you see? No, I agree with Mr. Tapper or Mr. Mishorn. It was the guy in the red car. So anyway, that's how you do detective work. You interview all the people, you look at all the thing, and you try to ascertain who's telling the truth and who's maybe got it slanted. So,
hey, look. Let me read this as well. This is great. This is really good stuff. This is called underthefigtree.org. But it says the traditional, I'm gonna read y'all the rest of this. The traditional way of reconciling these seemingly incongruous accounts is that Joseph was Jesus' adoptive father. In his article, Lincoln, who is doing this study, offers not Lincoln, but just another guy named Lincoln, offers another way. He posits that knowing the genre of the Gospels helps make sense of this apparent contradiction. As a subset of ancient Greco-Roman biology, the Gospels can be compared to other Greco-Roman biographies, such as Plutarch's biographies of Theseus, Romulus, and Alexander the Great. In these examples, the central character is given two conception stories, one natural and the other supernatural. Dual conception stories for the same figure was not uncommon in Greco-Roman biographies, and Lincoln suggests that this was a way of assigning significance and worth to those who, quote, were perceived to have achieved greatness in their later lives, end quote. In this genre, those who accomplished great things in their adult lives deserved an equally great, even supernatural conception story. Lincoln's approach is certainly intriguing, especially when applied to the nativity stories in Matthew and Luke. To read Lincoln's entire blah 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 blah. Yeah, there's a article called "How Babies Were Made in Jesus' Time" by Andrew Lincoln. But that kind of makes sense because what they're talking about is the ideology of asphyxiating a supernatural birth to these people who did these great works.
Yeah, absolutely,
In
absolutely.
order to have people hold these supernatural beings to such a high esteem.
Yes.
You know, so the idea is in these literary writings, it's to make them seem greater than life, so that we would look at them as such, and then you can continue to point to them as someone to follow or someone to be like.
Yeah,
You know,
this would be our great show, and it would stir up the listening
Well,
audience.
that's what I was going to say. If it's going to, we got one more show. I think we should. I mean, because Marcus right now, I see the text. Marcus is on the speedway trying to talk to me, and we really need to go ahead and have this show. Do this last show of what we're talking about, Peter. We should need to come on and talk. Where did Adam come from? You know, I'm having what's his name is asking me what
hey,
about
is Jesus real?
I mean, Marcus is having a religious spin wheel right now on text.
He's going to implode. His head is going to explode as he implodes from the inside.
And here could be our podcast, and this will be phenomenal. Global is
and what Marcus don't understand, and I want to just say this and lovingly, he doesn't understand. Yeah, I denounce traditional religion ever since, and I credit it to when I met Reverend Moon, okay, and I started studying that. My thinking expanded. That's why I talk about principles. And then I'm a medical person. It all makes sense to me as a medical person. There are principles. The anesthesiologist, they have to know whether you're a male or female before they start treating you. You start coming in there to be something else, then you might get jacked up and get the wrong type of tech. So the principle is that you have to know who you are, where it comes from. So you got to know the beginning of everything, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
You got to.
If someone decided at some point, and it is my belief, someone decided at some point that we could not share or help people understand that this world is as much of a energy matrix as it is. Someone decided that, and they decided that because if people understood that, then they wouldn't have the control that they wanted. Right. So someone at some point, I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened.
You look at different studies and stuff. You know, exactly. I believe we were in contact with other life forms from other planets earlier on. You know, I believe there's a whole lot more going on spiritually and supernaturally than there is today.
We are all little gods ourselves, man. It just
absolutely. We have the power to create and enact change. So that's a God. If you think about that. So, you know, I did it when I bought the BMW, not realizing that putting a picture of a BMW on my background photo on Facebook 6 months prior was a part of that. Until months after getting the BMW and realizing, oh snap, I actually brought this into my universe. So, you know, with things like that,
I did it. Listen up. Listen up. You just said something. Guess what I did? When I got a divorce from my first wife, I didn't want to be single. I didn't want to run back out there in that nonsense. You know what I did? I wrote down. I know not everybody knows this story, but I wrote down everything I wanted in a wife. Everything I wanted. Everything I wanted in a wife. Okay, wrote it all down, prayed over it, threw it away. I'm telling you, no lie, Jackie is everything I wanted in a wife.
There you go.
I'm just keeping it 100. She was so much everything I wanted in a wife. She scared me. I didn't even.
So the show can revolve around the idea that you know, there's more to this world than we know. I mean, right now I'm looking at videos, and you can't fake this stuff when it's people from all over the world. Videos of two suns, or you know, I mean, it's showing sun over here, sun over there. You know what I mean? Like this stuff is all over. There's a whole lot more going on, and it's coming to a point now to where it can't be hidden anymore. You know, and it's starting. There's an awakening that's happening. There's more to this world than what we know. What we know is simply what we've been told.
That's right.
And there's
what we
much
found
more out there,
out.
and people need to wake up and start opening up the box and start looking outside the box to realize that there is more.
I got to just go and tell Marcus, I am my own God. He wants me to give him the answer to God. Brother, I can't give you the answer. You got to find that out for yourself.
Well, to me, it's the ability to enact, to create.
Co-create. We're co-creating.
Yeah, co-create. Exactly. You know, even if we went biblical with it, the Bible states that he gave man a portion of the Holy Spirit. Jesus was given all of the Holy Spirit, right? So that would mean that we have so we're many gods. We have a portion of the Holy Spirit that gives us the ability now. As you go compare that story to the story of Haru and such, then you start realizing that yes, we have the ability to tap into a God force energy that is there. You know, I mean, even my pastor, Pastor Keith, stated one time that he believes that there could be multiple gods, and the God that we serve is that of this galaxy. Whereas there's multiple galaxies out there and gods that could be in control of that, and maybe they're all brothers. You know, I mean, there's so much out there, folks, and people only look in this box. And it's just like I seen a map the other day. Somebody pointed out the fact that everything that happened in the Bible happened in this one little dot in Africa. You know what I mean?
Yep. Well, it's good to keep our mind. You know, I use the saying, our minds are like a parachute. They only work if they're open.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Our minds are like a parachute. They only work if they're open.
And what Strong did was call up and showcase how close-minded he is.
Yes, he really did. He's gonna be mad at me. Oh my God.
Yeah, how close-minded he really is. Because that's all that was. It was simply a close-minded comment, you know, not even to think about it, but just to call and say, oh no, you can't, no.
Yeah, I should be kicked out of ministry.
Yeah, exactly.
As if my ministry comes from him or anyone else. My ministry is my calling from my creator. And I've been doing it 40 years all over the world.
And who is anybody to dictate anyone's ministry? My dad was an ordained evangelist by God before he was by man.
Sure, exactly. But you know, this is when people are more Jesus conscious versus God, the creator.
God conscious, exactly.
Can we make a commitment? Because you see, can we make a commitment? I think the three of us right now, believe it or not, I like what we're doing here. We need to continue this up because I think more people need to hear. And I said this before, and I think if I can go ahead, Peter, I need to let you know this. Greg is on board with us. Okay, more than what you realize. Greg.
Now remember, we're still live right now.
Greg Williams is not going to be happy.
We need to do this show. We need to do this show, and we need to continue this show next week.
Okay, cool. So we'll get into the particulars of this show. Folks, if you get a chance to watch this, then I hope that you enjoyed some of the conversation here, some of the open-minded conversation here. This is something that we could even bring John Yah in on this conversation, and he would be great with this conversation. You know, let's title it the shackles and the shackles of religion.
Yes. So Greg Williams is talking about being a guest. I'm going to his house on Monday.
Or limitations. I would say limitations of religion, because as much as you know, the religious teachings most of them have good values and morals. There are limitations because they all claim to stop at Moses or Jesus or Muhammad, and it's like
well, it's like my brother said, literary art. That's what it is.
And it's the flip phone. No, the flip phone is it, dude. We're gonna stick with that flip phone, and we're not gonna go to even those new, the evolution. And this thing is terrible. This smartphone is, blasphemous because the flip phone is the end of all truth. And that's sadly with the three Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, they all claim that their flip phone is the end of all truth, and nothing can come after that to improve upon that ideology, theology, or technology. And if you're stuck on that, I do know some people who still have flip phones, right?
I tell you what, let's add John Yah, and let me get in touch with my pops, and let me see if I can get him on as well. That would be an awesome show.
Hey, Greg Williams is going to be on next week as well.
I don't know who that is, but
he's with the Family Association.
Yes, I'm meeting with him. He's going to.
So is he going to come in and just kind of do that segment there, and then he's gone? Yeah. Okay, great.
No. His intent is to be on with us the whole time.
Well, if he's going to be on with us the whole time, I don't know about that because we're going to be speaking on some things that go directly against their religious views.
I'm going to his house on Monday, and I've already gave it to him hard, and he like, Sean, I've been following you. And Peter, Greg has grown a little, he's grown way more than what.
Because we're going to be talking outside the box on this last show, way outside the box.
Yeah, we're going all the way outside the box. That's right.
Yeah. So, all right, cool.
That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be totally outside the box, out the spot.
All right, cool. I'm gonna holler at my dad, and I'm gonna holler at John Yah to see if we can get them on next Tuesday.
I would like to have two. We want to have two American European men on the phone.
Is Greg European?
Yeah, he's European American.
Okay, good. So there we go. We got two.
He's your traditional evangelical Christian, so he would not think kindly.
And so what we're gonna need to do to reserve
Peter
to reserve the phone lines.
Peter, he actually
we're gonna do some 3-ways when we call in to reserve phone lines. All right, so like two people gonna need to buddy up together to do a 3-way to call in to the radio station, so we don't take up.
Well, we'll work it out. And this is
work it out.
To be honest, this is more apropos for our podcasting as we move forward. Because
let's do our last show. Let's do our last show. Let's do our last show on air. Let's just do what we want to do. Let it be totally out the box. And that's why I got Greg coming in. I didn't know he was going to do it, but this show helped see. I've already prepped Greg that he needs to think out the box. I see, I'm not your Negro. I'm not your Black. I'm not your African American. I'm a man created in my
image. But that's a whole different conversation, Misha, than what we're talking about. Anyway, we'll get to it on our meeting. All right, Joe.
All right, guys.
Live portion here.
Okay. All right, guys. Let me shut it down. Hey, everybody, we'll see you once again. If you enjoyed this after show, we'll see you once again next week on the Truth Be Told show. All right.
All right, cue the music.
Cueing music.
Start the music.
Starting music.
And go.
It's the Truth Be Told show, where we place America first. Honoring those who America has forgotten. Listen in and unlearn to relearn. As we set the record straight. And now, your host of the Truth Be Told show, Mr. Just Ask Joe and Uncle Mishorn.